this is Ebonygeek. You're always welcome to join me in expanding your knowledge base. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe. Hello, my name is Ebonygeek, and I would like to say today is a great day to learn something. And this is going to be a very quick tutorial, I believe. Now, what you're seeing here are breadboards. This actually has some terminal posts that you could put here. One is red, one is yellow, one is green. I have no idea where they are because I really don't use them that much. But this was my first breadboard that I ever used. It came from Radio Shack. It was pretty nice, but as you can see, it's very bulky. Okay, and with this one, this middle part is actually separate. So if you jack in ground and power, you will have to jump her over from this side to this side to get a continuous line of negative, and jump over from this side to this side to get a continuous line of positive. And I'm getting ahead of myself, of course, because, and I'm going to explain this, but what I'm showing here now is that breadboards come in many different flavors. As you can see, this is the first one that I got. It's pretty, well, big. And then you have this black part, and it's kind of nice because it had a rubber feet on the bottom. Then you have this black part. I believe this can actually be unscrewed off of here. I've never did it. You can actually, supposed to be able to extend it by these grooves at the top, and then there's grooves on the side, which you will find that in pretty much every breadboard. And so I don't believe I ever been really able to hook them together to any other breadboard. Like, as you can see, this one is not able to hook on to that one, and so that's your problem there. They have to be actually, and maybe they just have to be linked on to one that's like it, you know. So, and I actually have more of these, so they might be able to be hooked together, as you know, with the little grooves and everything. And so they come in different flavors, and actually I believe when I do get the other ones out, if I should have a need for it, I have about 4 more of these, and they could probably hook together. Then you have, they come in many different sizes and flavors. I have this little one here that I'm using actually for a robot car that I'm making. It's a very small one. It's smaller than the one that we have down here, and that's good for when you want to fit it onto something like I just had there. To explain breadboards, they're all pretty much the same. The smaller one that I showed you actually don't have these 2 power rails. Yeah, so all it has is these and these, and I'm guessing that's to help with it being smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this one out of here. Okay, and we can put that one back. Let's go ahead and explain the breadboard. Okay, so with the breadboard, just making sure we could be seen here. Okay, with this breadboard, and this is pretty much the way they're all set up. Like I said, the one that I had in Radio Shack, it actually has separated rails, and in that case you just have to keep in mind that you have to jump over power to the other section if you want that other section to have power. These, they have continuous power rails because they're so small. And actually this one, which is another one of the breadboards that I was showing you. Okay, so actually this one also has a continuous power rail that you don't have to jump over. This one is actually see-through, and if it didn't have that backing, you would probably be able to see through to the other side. So it's see-through. You can actually see how it's set up in there, so that's kind of cool. So putting that back, it's actually hooked to something, so that's why I can't move around it around that much. Okay, a bunch of different projects set up at the same time, so, and that just keeps you busy, keep the creativity flowing. So to explain it, when you use these, you're going to be prototyping something, some kind of circuit, some kind of whatever. And you will be using jumper wires, ideally. If you don't have jumper wires, you can actually, or if you're low on affording, then you can actually get wires. Okay, just make sure that they're as close to, just make sure that they will fit in easily into your breadboard without having to force it too hard, you know. So you don't want it to be so hard that you have to make this hole bigger, you know. So as you can see, this is very close to the same size as this jumper wire, and this is really a little bit too big, but it works. And this is actually a wire. Okay, so you want to just be careful with that. You don't want to have, you want to stick with the jumper wires is what I would suggest. Okay, you also have these types, I call them jumper staples. They're the more rigid jumper type things, and I guess it's cute that you could do one of those numbers. I just stick with the jumper wires, and depending on what you get, the jumper wires come in different sizes. This is a shorter size than that one, so you can get the shorter sizes. They come in a variety of sizes, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, when I'm using, I like to keep a variety of different colors so that I'm not using all of the same colors. Like with my remote control car, all I had available was yellow wires at that time, so I just used yellow wires to solder onto the chip on the inside. That can be kind of confusing if you're not careful, so I like to keep a variety of color jumpers. So I keep many. Okay, if you can, I got them off eBay. They were the most economical price for what I wanted. So, and they actually come in a strip where these are all joined together. So, and these are male-to-male connectors. The female connectors are the ones that don't have these ends on them, and there's many good uses for those too. So for ground, I normally use green or black. For power, I normally use yellow or red. Okay. These others I use for whatever. Some people use brown for ground. So some people use blue for power. So it just depends on what you're doing, and I would just say, keeping this in mind, all these other colors I would use for the other electrical kind of connections. Okay, with that said, when you add your power, say like this is coming in from a power supply, so you will add your power. Like say we connected this part to Uno, okay, and we're connecting this to our breadboard. So that's to Uno, that's to our breadboard. And then we will connect our ground, which is our, well, green here, but we know that that's ground, and which is this minus on this breadboard. Okay. So when you do that for this particular breadboard, that brings power to this whole rail. Okay. And it brings ground to this whole rail. Okay. So what you want to do is you can actually, for your power, you can actually jump anywhere from this rail, your power, on to your grid. Okay. And also jump anywhere on this rail from your ground onto your grid. I normally put the ground in the first one, but it can be in any one of these. Just so long as it's in one of these, it will be for that whole row, not this down. Now remember, it's across. It will only be across from where you jumped it in. Now it could be here, it could be here. So it could be across from where you jumped it in. It's not going to go over this gully. Okay? So this is a separate part as well. Okay? So if I was to come in and add a component, as long as I add it in this row with my power, it will have power on this leg. It will have power on this positive leg. Then I bring over the component, and normally it'll be next to it so that it can reach. As long as it's in this row, it will have ground. Okay, I could put my ground here. As long as it's in this row, it could be here, here, or here and here. As long as it's in this row, it will have ground. Same thing with your power. Okay, as long as it's in this row, it will have power. You put it here. As long as it's in that row, it will have power. Okay. And that's how a breadboard works. And that's all I'm going to explain about the breadboard now, because believe me, if you follow my tutorials and you keep pushing on with me, you will be very well versed in breadboards, because starting with our next tutorial, which should be our second part to our blinks, we're going to be using breadboards for mostly all of our prototyping, which is what we'll be doing, is prototyping. More advanced work, we will get to circuit boarding, but for our beginners, we're going to be prototyping. And pretty much when you're working on a circuit, you want to prototype it first. That way you don't solder up something that's not going to work. You want to prototype it first to make sure that when you start soldering it, that it's going to work, okay? So with that said, I'm going to say have a great rest of your day. Happy tinkering, happy coding. Today was a great day to learn something. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Ebonygeek. You're always welcome to join me in expanding your knowledge base. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe.